We always like to have you join us for this Title I planning meeting because it sets the stage for us for the next school year. And again, I just thank you so much for your time and attention today to all of the activities and just looking at the data and just giving us your input from the lens of parents and community. And so again, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, I'm Angela Cooks. I am the assistant principal over our Title I program. And I have with me Mr. Doyne. Everybody knows Mr. Doyne. He's our parent instructional coordinator. We also have two other important visitors with us today, Ms. Ladone and Mr. Thorsberg, who are translating for us today. We appreciate you being here and helping us to facilitate the planning meeting today. Again, we want to welcome everyone and appreciate you taking your time to plan with us this afternoon for our upcoming year. We want you to know that we value your input to make the decisions that's going to impact your child's success. So during this meeting, and Mr. Doyne, you can advance to the next page there. What we're going to be doing in this Title I planning meeting is reviewing data for our local school as well as the district. And then based on that data, we're going to talk about some of our strengths, some of the needs, and some goals that we have established that we want you to help us to fine tune. We're going to write or revise our family engagement documents. Please know that much of the work has already begun. So it's not going to be that we have a lot of work to do. Our teachers, our leadership team, our counselors, area superintendent, throughout the year, we have been looking at and monitoring our data against our goals that we have already set. And so every 45 days, we review where we are and the next steps that we need to take. So today, basically, what we're going to do is just do an overview and then get your input to help us to fine tune. And again, give your thought and your insight from the lens of a parent and a community member. I do want to advise that the meeting is being recorded. We will use this as our minutes for the meeting. And with that in mind, we just ask that you mute your mics until you have a question that you want to ask. If you have any input that you want to give to the meeting, you can do that at any time, but just throughout the meeting, keep your mics on mute. And then we'll have some time that we will stop between each of these slides to give you a time to reflect and give your input. But Mr. Doyne and I will give you that cue when it's time for you to give us your input, and you will put that in the chat, or you can do that aloud, either way. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and begin our meeting. Mr. Doyne, you can advance to the next slide. All right, so to just level set and get us all on the same page, we are going to just do a quick overview of what Title I is. Title I, we know, is the largest federal assistance programs for schools. Title I provides supports students who are at risk of not meeting those state academic standards. Title I the funding is determined by the number of students receiving free or reduced price lunch. And then Title I supports parents and families by offering activities and training that helps them to extend the learning at home and help with the engagement of the children's education. All right, this form you may have seen before if you've attended a Title I planning meeting, but this is where you will give us would have given us some input if it was a face-to-face. We're going to give you the opportunity again to share that information or give us some suggestions in the chat box. And so to practice that, I want everybody to see, do you see the chat box at the bottom? And if so, I want you to go ahead and enter your name in the chat box. And this will serve as a record of your attendance today as well. So at this time, locate the chat box in the bottom and place your name. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, you can continue doing that, Mr. Dorn. We can go ahead and start with probably is the biggest portion of our presentation, and it's the data and the school goals. I want you to know there's a lot of information, but we're not going to take a deep dive into all of the details of the data. For the purpose of this meeting, we're just going to highlight some key points and give an overview. And these are some important key points because they kind of drive our instructional program and some of the action steps that we take each and every day in the school. Just to give you some information, Mr. Dorn, if you can, go ahead and go to the next slide. And as you are pulling up our school data, I'm going to give a quick overview of just GCPS so you'll know kind of where we are. GCPS approximately has 24,000 educators and support staff, and all of these folks serve about 181,000 students. We have 142 schools in Gwinnett County. 81 of those schools are elementary schools. We have 29 middle schools. Remember that. We have 24 high schools, 7 specialty schools, 1 charter school, and that makes up our 142 schools. And so as we're going through the data, just kind of take note, jot some notes down about things that you wonder about, things that kind of you noticed and that may have puzzled you, and things that you might want to talk about and have some more questions answered about. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and start with our summary. You can see here on our summary page, we have about 1787. And let me say that this is the 22-23 school year data because it's all compiled. We are now currently still in our 23-24, and this data will be provided next year. So we're working off of what we ended as a full year of last year. But we had 1,783 students compared to all other middle schools, which had 41,000, and then the 181,000 in GCPS. You can see how we are our racial and ethnic background of the students. We have about 12% of our students who are Black, 77% Hispanic. You can see those percentages as compared to GCPS middle schools, as well as the entire 181,000 students. The percent of students who are receiving support, we have 87, 89%, and that number is low. We are really usually around 92 or 94% of students who receive free or reduced price meals. 71% of our students are multilingual learners, 11% special education, and 8% gifted, which that number has increased. We are almost up to 11% of our gifted students who are served in our gifted program. And you can see how those compare to all of the other 29 middle schools, as well as the 142 schools throughout Gwinnett County. We are higher. You can look at that in free and reduce compared to the other entities. We are 71%, which is a huge number. We are the largest, if not the largest, the second largest in terms of our multilingual learner student population, as compared to 30% in other middle schools and 20% throughout Gwinnett County. And that's a huge, huge difference, which is one of our key factors in the way we operate here at Lilburn Middle School. All right, demographics in terms of the composition of our staff. 74% of our teaching staff are female, and about 25, 26% are male. And you can see that comparison is pretty comparable to all middle schools and all other schools in Gwinnett County. And then if you look at our staff by race and ethnicity, you can see that we have a very diverse staff of teachers. Okay, just give you a couple of seconds to look that over and we'll move to the next slide. And as I said, just kind of take notes. And then we'll have an opportunity after you see all of these slides to just talk about some of the data that you may have some questions about. And Mr. Dorn, if you can move to the student tab. Awesome.
Just taking a second to load.
Yes, it does take a little bit of time to load. All right, so each year, and we hope that a lot of you all have taken part of this, we have the Educational Effectiveness Survey, and our students, our staff, as well as parents are all participants in this survey. And so the first one that we're looking at is what our students felt. So 93% of our students at Lilburn Middle School participated in the annual Educational Effectiveness Survey. And that was higher than the overall district average, which was great. So our kids went in and they gave us their feedback. And so the survey asked the students about their perception and satisfaction with the school. And these 4 categories, belonging, cultural proficiency, satisfaction overall, and well-being, were some of the top ones that showed where students were responding positively. And you can see that comparison again. Most of these are going to be compared against the middle schools as well as all Gwinnett County schools. And you can see that we were, in terms of belonging, 73% of our students are saying that they feel a sense of belonging at Lilburn Middle School. Pretty comparable to other middle schools and the rest of the district. Cultural proficiency was 86%. Again, we're right around the averages for middle school and the district. Satisfaction, overall satisfaction, we're beating out the middle schools and overall schools. Our students are satisfied overall. 61% said they are overall so satisfied with being here at Lilburn Middle. And then well-being, how you feel when you're here. 62% of our students have a positive feeling about the school, which was above the average for middle and all other schools. And we're happy about that. How many languages do our students speak? We've got 26 different languages represented compared to 86 in other middle schools, all other middle schools, and 102 across the county. How many countries do we represent? 36 compared to 153 in all middle schools and 189 in the 180 42 middle high schools across the district. Then I'm going down to the percent of school students who attend school regularly. And we're looking at, when we say regularly, these are students who are attending school 95% or more of the enrolled days. So for a 180-day school year, we're looking at about 170 days or more that is constituting regular attendance. So we've got about 54% of our students who are showing up, 170 days or more, which is a little lower than the average for all of the middle schools and a little lower than Gwinnett County as a whole. And that's the key point that I want you to take note of as well. And then again, with our chronically absent, that's 10% or more of our enrolled days being absent. So, you're thinking about 10, 18 more days absent of school. We've got 22% of our students in this chronically absent category, which is a bit higher than the other middle schools, all middle schools, or all of the classes or schools in Gwinnett County Public Schools. All right, we can advance to the next one, Mr. Dorn, student performance.
Okay, I just clicked on it. It takes a moment to load.
Yes, it does. All right, so taking a look at our Georgia milestones, which we have just finished up this week and last week. This is from last year's performance. How did our students do? Well, if you look at our language arts, we were 26% proficient and distinguished. And if you've been able to read some of the reports that come home with your students, there are 4 different categories. There's a beginning category, a developing, and then a proficient and distinguished. And we want all of our students to be in the proficient and distinguished categories. That's our goal for our students. So 26% of the population for Lilburn was in that for English language arts, compared to all of the middle schools at 49%. When you look at science, science was 19% compared to 42% in the 29 middle schools. Mathematics, we were 26.9% compared to all middle schools at 48.7. Social studies, 24.6 compared to the 49.3 in all other middle schools. And then the percent reading at or above grade level, we're at 49% compared to 73% across middle schools. If you look over to the right, talks about the college readiness. 14% of our students, these would be 8th grade students, taking the PSAT, which is a benchmark that tells us how kids are ready, their readiness for college, 14.2% versus 38 and 38 for the district. And again, our English language proficiency, and what this is showing us is the percent of multilingual learners and how they made progress towards their English language proficiency. We're at about 55% for our school, meeting their language proficiency, compared to 46 other middle schools and 71 in BCPS. Just take a minute to look at that, because these are our academic scores and how we rank across the district. And you can see that we are, quite a bit lower than the other schools. But we're going to talk about that and what that means in comparison to what our school looks like. All right, go ahead to our staff. Almost there, almost there. All right, so when we look at our staff, who's standing in front of the students on a daily basis, we talk about the percent of certified staff that we have that have an advanced degree. Lilburn Middle School, we have a very educated faculty. Our folks have very good degrees. We have 29% of our teachers with a bachelor's degree, about 40% of them with master's, 20% with specialists, and 2% with doctorate degrees. And you can see how that compares against all other middle schools and schools for Gwinnett County. If you look to the right, you can see the experience. Lilburn Middle School has about 40% of the teachers with 0 to 5 years of teaching experience. 14% have teaching experience of 6 years to 10 years, 12%, 16 to 20, 10% at 21 to 25, and then we have about 12, 10% at 26 of experience, 26 years of experience or more. You can see how that compares again to the other schools. So one thing that comes to mind there is that our staff is have advanced degrees. However, we do have a pretty young staff as compared to some of the other schools. And that is about 133 staff members. We have 6 assistant principals, 3 counselors. And in addition to the counselors, we have some special folks working with those counselors. One is an MTSS coordinator who works with all of the interventions in our school. We have a behavioral specialist and a person who deals directly with just attendance. And all of them have a counseling background to help with our students in making sure that they're here every day and getting the things that they need to feel a sense of well-being and all the foundational things that'll help them perform on their academics. Again, you can see that we have that again. Counselor ratio is 594 students to 1 counselor. And we do have a lot of students. We have, again, about 1,700 students in this data. And so we are a little above the average in terms of that ratio, student to counselor ratio. All right, how do our staff members feel about the school? Again, 81% of our staff participated in the surveys. And the survey asked few different things about cultural proficiency and staff support. And so you can see that we rank above. Our faculty rated us as saying that they are culturally proficient. We do have a diverse staff. So our teachers are very culturally aware and responsive to teaching students of various backgrounds. And our staff says that they feel supported. 85% of the student teachers here say that they feel very well supported, and that helps them to be able to then support our students. Family, if you can go to Mr. Dorn.
Okay, it's loading.
All right. And this last page here shows us what you said. So how do our families in the Lilburn Middle School community feel about our school? We want to really, really increase this number. We only had about 9.2% of the families participating in the annual survey, which is a little lower than the 14% overall in the district. But these are the categories that were favorably responded to. Belonging, our parents felt that a sense of belonging in the school, 87%. Communication, our families are saying that we communicate to them often and in languages that they can understand. They felt the cultural proficiency within our school. Satisfaction overall was 88%. And then translation was around 92%. If you look to the right, we are a one-to-one school now, supporting our students with all kinds of resources, including laptops. So 98% of our students have those laptops, and about 74% of the parents have an active GCPS portal account. We want to, again, improve that number. We want 100% of our parents having access to the parent portal, because that's how you find out about your student in terms of all of the academic skills that they're going to have to work through, what their grades or averages are at that time. So not only having the access, but we really want them to be able to access it on a daily basis or at least a weekly basis to kind of keep up and know the progress of your student. And then one final slide and we'll stop and talk.
Okay, that last slide is loading.
Okay. And so this slide is just going to be a list of resources that you can find both on our website and the district's website. So any and everything that you need to know or want to know about GCPS or Lilburn Middle School can be found here. If you want to know something about the County Board of Education, the parent portal, how to get to the free and reduced meal application, the My Payments Plus, which is where we like for everyone to be attached to so that they can make payments to different accounts for the student, including your lunch account. You have links to the blueprint. This is Gwinnett County Public Schools District Strategic Plan, and it defines how we are doing the work in Gwinnett County Public Schools as well as Lilburn Middle. And then you can find like the accountability and assessment surveys that we just talked about a few minutes ago. But this is a very good web page to have access to. Again, you can find this information on our webpage as well as Gwinnett County Public Schools. And so from there, Mr. Boyne, we're going to do a little stop and share. And again, at this time, parents, you are able to unmute and just ask some questions that you noticed something about, or maybe just you already knew this. It wasn't a surprise to you, but at this time you can do that.
And there were some people that logged in a little bit after we started. And if you're not aware, we do have interpretation available in Spanish and Vietnamese, and those options can be found at the globe interpretation icon. Si necesita escuchar esta presentación en español o vietnamita, se puede encontrar el globo del mundo para escuchar esta presentación en español o vietnamita. Y estamos pidiendo que si tiene alguna pregunta o comentario ahora, es un buen tiempo para hacer eso y podríamos agregar su micrófono.
Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I think some of the things that, we want to tell about our school, our data is our data, but our story is, if you made note of this, 71% of our student population are speak a language that English is not their first language. So we are termed a ML school, which is a multilingual learning school. And so again, that 71% is much higher than all of the middle schools and all other schools in the district. So we are number one, or if not number two in our county. The second thing is that we have a very diverse teaching staff to support our students. So that's a wonderful thing. Our staff is very competent in content knowledge. As you can see that we have a high percentage of teachers with advanced degrees. However, our staff is young. They've had teaching years between 1 to 5 years of teaching experience. That was about 40% of our faculty. So what that means for us is that we have to put a lot of professional development into taking that content knowledge that they have in terms of now making it more accessible for our multilingual learners. And so that takes some professional development to help them know how to differentiate the instruction for the various learners that we have. The other thing that I want you to think about is the student attendance. We had a higher than average percent of students that were chronically absent. That's key to the data that you're seeing as well, because our students have to be here every day to engage in the lessons so that they are successful in learning and then demonstrating that learning on these assessments. And just thinking about the fact that our scores are, below average in terms of the other middle schools, we have to think about the fact that we have multilingual learners. However, all of our assessments are done in English, and we're pushing our kids to get to the proficiency in language that they need to be successful on the assessments. Remember that the tests that we're taking, they are all standardized tests. So that is every student in the state of Georgia, or on a national test, every student in the state, in the nation is taking the same test. So there is a finish line that everybody has to get to. And we know that in any race, everybody doesn't get there at the same time. So our students are getting there. It's just taking them a little bit more time to get to that finish line with a lot of differentiated supports that our teachers are learning and getting better at to help students get to the finish line faster. So we do not want you to get discouraged by those scores. Again, that is due to us having a higher non-English language proficient student population, and then teachers who are learning how to serve those students better. Okay, Mr. Dorn, do you want to have anything else to add to that?
Oh, just thank you, Ms. Cooks. I think it just underscores the importance of having such an engaged family support system.
Exactly.
We love to see you all in this meeting, and we know you want the best for your kids. So we just look forward to partnering with you about the different initiatives we're talking about today, and we will be talking about over the next year to work together to make sure our students are achieving their potential.
Awesome. Okay, we can go ahead into the next slide. Are there any questions then from just the comments that Mr. Dorn and I did in terms of the summary of our data? All right, Mr. Dorn, you can move on. Okay, we just did that protocol. We just talked about that. And this just gives us a little bit more about our perception results from our families, and just give you more response items. These two deal with communication and parent and community involvement. So these were favorably responded to. Again, our parents are saying that communication and materials that they receive from the school are in languages that they can understand. School communication with me about my students, that we do that. We communicate with them about their students' progress. The school communicates effectively with my family. I'm encouraged to collaborate with my students' teachers about the student learning. So the parents feel that we are doing a good job of that. In terms of the parent and community involvement, our parents are saying that the school respects different cultures represented in the school community. The parents' organizations at the school actively encourage all families to participate, feel welcomed in the school. They feel that concerns about their student are being met. They have high levels of community support. And the school tells me how I can help my student with homework, and we want to improve that number. I know 77%, but again, we want 100% of our families, with the strategies to help make sure that we're all working together for the student. And you say, wait a moment.
Yes, there's a question from a parent in the chat.
Okay. All right.
She is asking, Miss Molina is asking, how can I help my child with the English language that I don't know myself?
Gotcha. So one of the things that we have, and we don't expect you to be, the teacher, that's their job, but the things that we really want to emphasize in the home is that you give the safe space for the kids to be able to do the extra work. We emphasize to our kids that all of what they're learning has to be practiced sometimes. It can't be all done in the classroom. So you have to take some time and do some work at home. Read. And the more you read, the more you're exposed to words, and that helps you to be able to, build your vocabulary and build your fluency in reading and understanding and comprehension. And so those are simple things. Just read, encourage them to read, and then just let them tell you about what they read about so that you're seeing that they're comprehending and understanding what they read. We have several web-based subscriptions that we pay a lot of money for our students. And that web-based meaning that they can access that from their Chromebooks and laptops at home. So we have things that'll help them with math, like iExcel. We have the iReady platform, and it meets the students where they are. So making sure that they get on and spend some time with the activities, because it will take it to their own level of learning and teach them and then assess them. And this is all differentiated. So every kid is not looking at the same thing. And if my reading level is lower than yours, it takes me to a particular reading level, gives me a lesson, and then assesses me on that lesson. So we have all kinds of things, and the kids have access to that. And that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So those are the types of things that we want your help with, is just making sure that the students are doing something at home to continue to practice their vocabulary, their reading, and their numeracy, which is in math.
Thank you, Ms. Cooks. There's a follow-up question from Ms. Molina. She's asking, where can I find those support programs?
They are on the students' e-class page. Every student, when they log in, they have an account. And Mr. Dorn, you probably could talk more to that too, because you get to see that page as well. But there is a section for them to go to their teacher's class page with all of the assignments that they have to turn in. But there are also those web-based subscriptions are tied to their e-class page, and they can go in and access that any day, time of night.
I just put that in the chat as well in Spanish. Ms. Cooks.
Okay. And if we're ready, we could go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, and I'll address the part that she said she doesn't speak English herself.
Okay,
We don't have our schedule yet for next year, but we do offer English classes for parents to help you improve your English language skills as well. And there are other resources like that for families in the community.
awesome. All right, any questions from the survey? I feel like our parents, again, responded that they feel supported, that we're communicating. And so we have, the structures in place to have them come in to know about what's going on with their kids and to be partners with us in the education of their children. Is there anything else that anyone noticed that they want to ask questions about from that survey? Again, we do encourage more participation, because the more we know and the more people who participate, we get a better feel for how the parents are feeling about our school.
And Ms. Cooks, this isn't a question about the survey or a comment about the survey. Ms. Paez asked a great question. She says, during summer vacation, can the students continue practicing with those applications?
Exactly. Yes, sir. We definitely are rising sixth graders. Please be looking out for language arts and math summer learning. Those will be out on our website and sent out. So those are just things that the kids don't have to actually be proficient at, but we want them to just practice with it. These are skills that they should have attained in elementary school, but it's going to help them start their year off well in sixth grade. And we also, again, have access on those, the e-class pages. Those web-based subscriptions last throughout the year. So they have access to that even through the summer to go in and practice those skills.
And Ms. Cooks, Ms. Caceres is asking, how do I know if my child is turning in his assignments and to know if he's doing them well? How do I know his grades on them? So I'm putting the link to the
Awesome.
parent portal in the chat right now.
That parent portal is so powerful. Like I said, it tells you everything about the students' grades, missing assignments. You can go into each of the contents, language arts, math, science, and social studies, and see what they've turned in, what grade they got on it, what's missing and outstanding. And then if you have questions about that, your student says, well, I turned that in. Call to the school and talk to the teacher, because it may just be a gap between them just turning it in and the teacher needing time to grade it and get the grade in. Because as a student turns it in, it doesn't just automatically assign a grade. It has to be graded by the teacher. But however, that parent portal is your best friend. All right, we can go ahead and move forward now to the strategic priorities, and I'll go over this really quickly. All right, so all of us, what we're doing today kind of feeds into our local school plan of improvement. Each year we look at our data, we look at our strengths and our areas for growth, and we just did a needs assessment with our content leaders, just looking at our academic data, our discipline data, our attendance, and where are those things that we're doing very well? Where are those areas that we can grow in? And those areas that we can grow in, let's put some action steps behind them. And those action steps then become a part of our local school plan of improvement. And so Gwinnett County Public Schools has 4 different strategic priorities, and they're centered around four themes. The first one here you can see is called empathy. And so not only are we looking at the academics, but there are certain things that feed into a student that helps them to be able to perform well in school. And so one of them is empathy. And so our rationale here at Lilburn Middle School is that we believe that the well-being of our students, how they feel when they come into the school, it has a direct correlation to student success. So we want to provide an environment that's conducive to the social and emotional well-being of the teachers, the support staff, the students, And all of those result in great student achievement. So if you look down here, we have some action steps, and we have many, many things that we do in each of these themes, but I just kind of highlighted just a few. First thing, our teachers will be participating in those professional development sessions related to cultural cornerstones. Again, that's how we take the content of math and science and language arts and social studies and make it more accessible to the students so that they are able to attain what they need to attain from the learning. Our school community engages in at least, we have engagement activities at least once per semester. We analyze our survey data, as we just looked at now, to determine how we're doing and then what we need to do to improve. We ensure that the school resources in each of the content areas are effectively representing the students that we serve. And we ensure that there's a representation of our students visually and aesthetically throughout our building. All right, we can move to the next strategic priority, which is equity. And this is definitely huge in our building. We want to make sure that every student has access to high quality education, and they have the supports that will, like I said, to get them to that finish line. And so we have a multi-tiered system of supports. And again, we have a diverse learning community. And so those needs are just as diverse as our students. And so not only are we looking to help our students to acquire language acquisition, but how that also supports them in non-academic areas as well. So we want to build fluency in literacy. We want to build fluency in those numeracy. We focus on a lot of things like vocabulary building, reading strategies, the science of reading to help kids acquire the understanding, but not only just read, but read for understanding and read for application. So a lot of the steps that we're taking to make sure that happens. We definitely want to create a family school environment. We try to host quarterly parent and family engagement activities. And Mr. Dorn is well versed at that. He's the one who is coordinating those. We want to increase the number of ESOL certified teachers. We've got a push to do that. We have an academy on each grade level that's focused on students that are new to the country, who are trying to learn the language. But as you see, 71%, not only just those students in the academy, we are an ESOL school. So we need more teachers to have those strategies to be able to support the learning of students who are not in that EL academy. And again, it's all about that professional development. We have some young, energetic teachers, again, who know the content, but it's how, again, we get that content accessible to our students. And we have plenty of things that it would take me a long time to go through each of the steps that we do each day, but it starts with our teachers in the content learnings. Every week they go together and they sit down and they lesson plan together. They look at resources that are going to help the students be able to understand what's being asked of them in terms of literacy and numeracy skills. And then we assess the students. And it's just a cycle over and over again. But the students that do well, we keep pushing. And the areas that we need to grow in, we keep doing the reteaching, which is what you'll see, the tutoring sessions that we have before and after school. We have ELT, where we have extended learning, where students are placed into different support groups to continue learning over and over until they have gained the knowledge that they need. All right, Mr. Dorn, you can go on to the next one. Effectiveness is the third one. And again, it's our commitment to striving to get to the level of performance that we want our students to be at. And that's just building a collective efficacy amongst our school. And again, that means everyone, just not the teachers, not the students, it's the parents, all of us working together to improve the academic performance of our students. And so, again, we monitor the progress of our local school plan of improvement, and then we utilize those collaborative leading meetings to implement those lessons, both academic and socially, to help our students. All right, and the last one again is excellence. And this just builds on the fact that we want to be a school of choice. We want our folks to be wanting to come to Lilburn Middle School because they know their students are going to be taken care of academically and socially and emotionally. And so again, our leaders are every day looking at ways that we can cultivate that climate of high quality instruction, having a positive culture, having our school be more student focused, and just a commitment to the success of each and every child. All right, Mr. Dorn. I'm going to pass the mic to you to talk about our family and community engagements, unless there are any questions about the strategic priorities that our district has set forth. Those are tailored to Lilburn Middle School, and the district has some of their own that Mr. Dorn will talk about a little bit later.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cooks, and I'm appreciating the questions in the chat about the parent view and the parent portal. That is so key, like you said. So every school has what's called the plan and the promise. So if you have a child, we invited our 5th grade families here. If you have a child at Lilburn Elementary or Nesbitt Elementary or Rockbridge Elementary, Meadow Creek High School, McClure High School, we are all Title I schools. And with the Title I program comes the plan and the promise. The plan and the promise, there are documents that show how we're going to put our goals into action with support from you all, our families. So I will be putting a link in the chat of these documents in English and Spanish, so you can review them. I also put that in the Parent Square message that I believe you received today. And we would like for you to review these. You do not have to review these at this very moment, but we would like your feedback. I'm sorry for the long link there. That's the English one. And this will be the Spanish link of the plan and the promise. In Spanish, it's called El Plan, El Compromiso. So if you look through those, it will talk about different ways we would like to work with you. Not much has changed in this draft from previous editions. But if you go down to the goals section, I don't think I have that pulled up. It's basically the same, where we propose providing workshops to help your children how to improve their reading skills, which we talked about earlier. And then also how to work with your kids in the social and emotional area. So we had a workshop a couple months ago, and our 5th grade families were invited to that one as well, where we had a guest from Serra Familia talk about how to help your children avoid dangerous behaviors. So we would love for you to continue to attend those kinds of workshops with us, not only about academics, but also about the social and emotional health of our students. So that's basically what the plan and the promise is, and would love any additional comments or feedback that you have about how you think we can all work together to make sure our students are doing their best.
Awesome. So I will go ahead and talk a little bit about our budget. Again, if you'll scroll to the next page, they will be able to see the budget and how that money was allocated. Again, when I spoke to you about the number of students who receive free and reduced price lunch, this Title I funding comes directly from the students who are on free and reduced price lunch. it showed about 87%, but again, Lilburn Middle School is about 93, 94% free and reduced. And so for every child who does receive that, we get some funding from the state and from the government. And so last year's allocation was $1,185,000. So that's a lot of money that we get in extra support to be able to level the playing field. So as we've said, our students need a little bit more time, a little bit more resources to help them gain the literacy and the numeracy skills that they need to be successful on and demonstrate their knowledge on these state and national tests. And so you can see out of the 100, that 1,000,008 or 1,000,001, about 80% of the money went to 10 teachers. So every school gets a projection, and the number of teachers that we get are based on the number of students. Well, this Title I budget helps us to supplement and add more teachers. And we need the teachers because, as you see, the student to teacher ratio may be anywhere from 28 to 32 students per teacher. Trying to individualize the instruction for all of the students with one teacher can be difficult. I wouldn't say difficult, but it takes a minute to do that for one teacher. So placing extra teachers in the classroom helps to be able to provide those small group settings or individualized instruction. And so we are committed to making sure that we give that extra support. And so a lot of our funding, over 80% of it, goes to additional teachers. The second highest percent of our money goes to those web-based subscriptions that I was talking to you about. The students have access to those, again, throughout the school and through summer, through their e-class pages. It's web-based, so it's not something that they have to just do here at school. It can be done at home on their Chromebooks and laptops. But we have just lots of different resources that they can use. And the students can tell you because they're working through those during the day, and then they can continue working with those at home. And then the third big piece of pot of money would be with collaborative planning and professional development. Again, we put a lot of investment in our teachers to not only come to us with the content knowledge, but again, how they make that accessible to students who have various learning levels. And so that's where the biggest portion of our funding goes. And then we have those after school ELT programs that will support the students. So that's kind of where our money went. And that's pretty much the, I guess you say the formula that we use each year. We will get a second set of budgets, usually come in around August, and we will take that budget and figure out where that money needs to go. And this is pretty much our commitment to where we feel will get our students to where they need to be. One, again, it's lowering the class size per teacher, the supplies that we give to the students, including those web-based subscriptions so that they can practice and get additional instruction, the professional development of our teachers. That's where we're putting most of or all of our money. Any questions about the budget and how we decide on those being the areas that it's spent on? Because you definitely have a say in that. And we would love to have input in terms of the budget that's coming up in the fall, where you would like to see. If you think that this is not, if you feel like we should allocate it to something else. This is your opportunity to give us some input. If not today, you can think about it and give us some feedback on that. All right, if not, Mr. Dorn, I'm going to pass the mic back to you for staff training.
All right, so in a document I will link in the chat in just a moment, it will be our input documents. There will be an English and a Spanish version. And one of the questions we ask in this input document is, and you can also write it in the chat yourself. The question is on the screen, but I'll make sure we have time for the interpreters to explain what it says. Families, what do you think staff members need to know to better assist you in supporting your child's learning? So this could take the form of professional development that you saw on the last slide that we would budget for, and just different ways that we can work with our staff so that they can better serve your children. So Ms. Cooks, maybe we'll just wait a moment to see if anybody wants to add something right now, but I'll also put the link to the document in the chat.
And again, this doesn't end today. You can add your thoughts here if you need some time to think about it as you're, working with your students. So throughout the year, we want to hear from you in terms of ways that we might be able to help.
I just put the link in the chat for that document if you want to add your comments there, or just here in the chat, or I think we can unmute. So I think Ms. Cooks, isn't the point that they know their kids better than we do?
Yes, absolutely.
And they know what their kids need better than we do. I think, led by Ms. Cooks and our other leaders and our teachers, I think we know a lot about what your kids need, but you've known them longer than we have.
Ashley, again, we are the content specialists and we are the student specialists as well, but we want to know what you think would help to underscore, the academics. What could we do to help your students get to the finish line quicker?
One thing I think is sometimes they appreciate when teachers or staff take initiative to listen to them or encourage them to share a little about themselves. They can be shy, but when they feel confident in themselves, that can also help them with their grades.
Awesome, awesome. And we do, offer those opportunities. We have morning sessions each morning where we call those class sessions, where the students talk about things that are going on in their world that may impact him here at the school. We have an advisement team that's led by our counselors, and again through those surveys that they have told us through surveys that they need support in, they share what they need. So just things that middle schoolers or the nature and needs of middle schoolers, we talk about, but then there could be some additional things that students bring up in those class sessions in the morning. But it basically talks about how they engage with each other, how they respond to conflict, and just how they navigate these middle school years. It can be tough. That as you're dealing with the middle school kids right now, that there are a lot of things that they are exposed to that you may not have been exposed to when you were growing up. That's kind of impacting them and how they engage in school. So we talk about all of those things, just how to make good decisions. And then a lot of that is getting to know your students and their needs. That's done definitely every morning. We have that opportunity across the building. And then our teachers, on a daily basis, know that relationships are very important to being able to teach kids. We have that saying that, kids don't care about what you know until they know that you care about them. So we do stress that to our teachers and our supports folks here that we get to know our kids. So thank you for that. And we'll keep pushing to get to know our kids better. All right, Mr. Dorn, I guess we can advance if there are no more questions or input. And you can advance on. So the district input form is similar to the one that we just had for Wilbur Middle School. And basically, we're just saying that the district has opportunities for you to engage in family and community engagement plan, just as you're giving input to what we do here at the school. There may be some input that the suggestions that you want to make for at the district level. And know that there's 1% of the district funds that they set aside for family engagement activities. Mr. Doran sends a lot of that information out to you as well, so that you'll know that, again, at a district level, you have an input and a say there as well.
I just put the link to that document in the chat as well.
Okay. And again, today or throughout the year, especially, during this document review period, if you have some ideas that you would like to share that we can, give to the district, this will be your opportunity to do that here. All right, we'll keep advancing, Mr. Dolan. I'm just going to highlight this again. Again, this is our blueprint for the future. This is Gwinnett County Public Schools' commitment to supporting students in those 4 areas that we talked about for Lilburn Middle School. And so the same priorities that we just discussed for us, the district level basically, has those same strategic goals. So if you go to number 1, Mr. Dorn, which is empathy. Again, the district is committed to understanding and knowing that, empathy is the ability to understand feelings. And so they are committed to enhancing engagement across the district, prioritizing self-care and physical and mental health amongst our faculty, staff, and our students, and committed to recruiting and retaining an education workforce that's going to reflect the diversity of our students and community. And I do believe that Gwinnett County is doing a phenomenal job of trying to attract and attain students, who look like the students in the classroom. And that relationship helps to build the relationships that you need to help students learn. And they have a commitment to that in terms of the strategic priority number 1, which is empathy. All right, number 2, equity. And again, a commitment from Gwinnett County Public Schools to address and reduce the inequity. And they're doing that through rigorous and culturally responsive or relevant curriculum. And, supporting our unique students and communities with resources that will, match the needs of the students and their needs. That's in equity. Effectiveness is number 3. And again, it's about talent management and our results-based system. And that's how we again sit down and look at how we put the goals or set goals for our students and how we use data to determine if we're getting to those goals, looking at our strengths and areas of need to improve. And this is our business. This is the biggest part of our business, is making sure that we have an effective school system here. And then again, excellence. Gwinnett County Public Schools is committed to, again, being a preferred education destination. And I think we are. We want, again, to continue to do the things that support your students. So we are the choice of students and families. All right. I'll pass it back to you again, Mr. Doyne.
All right. So at this point, we are asked to share the GCPS Family and Community Engagement Plan video. So there is an English video and a Spanish video. And as you're watching the video, I think it's 5 minutes. I would also encourage you to fill out those input forms that I put in the chat for the local school input form and the district input form. And let's see. I'm going to stop sharing so I can share this video now. Give me a moment while I pull it up, please. I guess I can put the links in the chat first, because we're only going to play the English video right now. That's the Spanish video. And just while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and put the English video. English. Okay. And we'll see how the audio works here. Okay, Coach, will you let me know if this audio, I haven't started playing it, if the audio is going to work. If
Okay.
not, I'll hit something else.
Can't hear it.
You can hear that, right? Okay. Let's see. Let's see, audio. Here's what I'll have to do. I think I'll have to play it from the I'll have to play it from my other computer, I think, so you can hear it in the meeting here.
Okay. Well, while Mr. Dorn is getting that, if there are any other questions, please do unmute. Additional comments?
This work. See this. Let me know if you can hear something. You don't hear that, right?
No.
Okay. I would encourage the Spanish speakers to click on the Spanish video, because again, we're going to be playing this just in English.
Now, with my little limited Zoom experience, I know we had to share sound.
I don't know what the sound option is here on Zoom, so I'll have to play it from my other.
Okay.
Here's the video. Really quiet. That is. Okay, that's not playing. So as I'm figuring this out, could I move on to the next slide?
Okay.
Right, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide.
Okay, we can send that out later.
All right.
And in that video, it just describes the same thing, because again, Gwinnett County Public School provides the roadmap And then each of the schools have their own different kind of versions of it, tailored to meet the needs of the students in their schools. However, we all are, on the same page when it comes to the funding, how we, and the commitments that we make to help students get to where they need. And that's what that video is all about.
And this is the outline of what the video talks about too. So also, as one of the questions on your district input document does mention the 1%, that 1% of the district's Title I budget supports family engagement and is divided amongst all of the Title I schools. I think there may be about 70 to partially fund my positions and or family engagement at our schools. And we love your feedback about how else we might be able to use that money to support families.
Yep, I can't add anything else to that. Again, Gwinnett County Public Schools provides those surveys. I think we take so many surveys, but it's really important that you do participate so that your voice can be heard. And, that's one easy way to do it because it's electronic. You can just tell how you feel, what things are going well, what things you want us to improve upon. That's one of the easiest ways to give your feedback. And then in meetings like this right here, we have a meeting right now, and you always have an open door policy in all of our schools where you're able to give your feedback. So there's continuous quality improvement through continuous communication. And pretty much that concludes all of the presentation material that we have today. Again, we look forward to hearing back from you, and Mr. Doyne can talk to you about reviewing some documents for our family engagement plan, for our Title I budget.
Yeah, so the documents, I'll send out these draft documents. I did I'll put them on email this weekend. And then you're welcome to stop by the now Family Engagement Center next Monday through Wednesday to provide extra feedback, to make sure we're all putting our brains together to make sure we're doing all we can for these kids for the next school year.
Okay, and so you have specific dates for these document period, just to be able to get it turned into our district for us. And I think that's going to be what, May 6th through May 8th, from 8:30 to 4:30.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, of course, there's ongoing throughout the year.
Thank you, Mr. Genius, for your participation and support. He's put a nice comment in the chat there. I'm going to try this video one more time.
Okay. Thank you for that feedback. Again, it's a lot of information, and you are welcome to come in to the school. All of this information is open records. You can, if you want to drill deeper and know more about the data, you want to know about the teachers, their certifications, all of that information is accessible to you as a parent. Still can't hear it.
Okay. All right, so I'll just send that link out. It was in the chat, but I'll send it out.
Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Doan, you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Well, we are. I know we've got some 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade families in this chat. Just mentioned that as far as family engagement goes, one of my favorite sayings was I heard a lot from a former principal and I've heard our current principal say the same thing. Many hands make light work.
Yeah.
So the more of us that can work together through different committees, different events, will only benefit our kids. So with that being said, we are looking for our leaders of our Parent Teacher Student Association for this next year. And the more of us that are helping out, the less that any one person would have to do. So we had a wonderful parent teacher PTSA International Night for one, and we've had other events throughout the year, but just contact me or put in the chat or however you want to let us know that you are wanting to help out for this next year.
Awesome. I was just reminded too, Mr. Doan, a couple of days ago, we had our needs assessment meeting with our teachers and content leaders and principals and district level representative. And one of the things that, the teachers want you to come and be a part of, the learning. We don't expect you to be the content specialist, but we even thought about having room parents, and maybe you're, used to that in terms of elementary schools, but we still want that in middle school. So be thinking about that. If you'd like to be a room parent, to come in and support things that are happening, just to be the second voice for the teacher. If she says, I need this information to get out, we're going to go do something, then you are responsible for making sure that all the parents in that room know about it, because we are sending out information. Mr. Doan does a phenomenal job of communicating all of the things that we do here at our school through our social media platforms. We send out through email. We're sending flyers out. But again, he's one person sending information out to 1,700 families. So it will be so helpful if we had some more hands in assisting with that, just to be aware of the things that are going on in the school, and how we can all work together to make it a better Lilburn Middle School. And with that, I don't have anything else. Again, just thanking you for your participation today. And I want to thank again our interpreters for your time today. We really appreciate you. And again, thank you and have a phenomenal day. I think we did a pretty decent job today. We got it in within an hour and 30 minutes.
Ms. Cooks, I think what I'd like to do is just let the interpreters know. I'll go ahead and turn off the interpretation, and then we can all be in one room just for awesome. If anybody wants to add anything else.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so we're now in one audio channel. So if anybody wants to add
Entonces
anything.
ya no estoy en cabina.
Thank you, Ms. Doan, Mr. Thorsberg for interpreting for us. Ms. Paez was thanking you, John, for your interpretation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Con mucho gusto.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all. So we usually do a countdown.
Entonces, antes contamos para atrás.
Let's see. Any volunteers to count us down today?
¿Quién quiere contar del 10 al 1?
Let's see. Let's see. Ms. Paez, are you still there? You made the last comment. I don't see you there. All right.
Yes, she's there.
Is she still there? Okay. Señora Paez, voy a pedir que Si está cómoda para contar de 10 a 1, para cerrar oficialmente la reunión. It's all right if you don't want to, Miss Pais.
No se preocupe, si no quiere, señora Páez, no tiene que hacerlo. I'll count down for you if you'd like, Mr. Doyne.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
You've earned it.
Spanish or English?
Los dos.
Los dos.
Ujú.
Entonces, 10-10, 9-9, 8-8, 7-7, 6-6, 5-5, 4-4, 3-3, 2-2, 1-1. Adiós.
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 Bye.
Goodbye.
Gracias.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Adiós.
Está bien, señor
Adiós.
Pais. No
Ay,
se
claro.
preocupe.
Hasta luego.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Que se cuide.
Welcome to you. But